So my next question is really about the alternative. What happens when you say, you know what, not my problem anymore. You guys are on your own. Everybody fend for themselves. I'm taking some me time. Bye-bye. What happens then?
Your brain goes into no, in my case, your brain goes into hyper alert mode. I don't care if the kid is a grown adult. Beep, 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 beep. I need to scan. And it's taken a long time to turn that off. My kids are 24 and 21. They are mostly launched. I don't need to have the radar on for the 3-year-old who might be falling down the stairs or trying to, build a nuclear bomb in the basement. So I don't need to have that kind of thing. However, there is still that training of so many years of staying on top of a kid who, if their mind isn't active, their body is. And if their body is active, something's going to happen. Turning that off. And it's like a phantom electronics sucker. Or what is it? The ghost electronics or something that is just pulling energy from you. And you don't even know that it's still plugged in.
Wow.
And so trying to find that plug, and of course, it being us, there are a bazillion cords packed into power strips that can't handle the load. Trying to find that one and unplug it is so incredibly hard. And it takes so much time because you're down there. Now you're looking at all these plugs going, oh my God, no wonder I'm so tired.
Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. Take a little stock. Now, again, I'm not suggesting by any means you just pull the plug and let things happen. I think it is.
But it's so tempting. So tempting. It's like, okay, you're double digits. You're smart. I'm going to leave now. Y'all just figure it out. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Toast is food. Just eat.
Just eat. Yeah. Who cares? Right. But at the same time, you're like, I can't really totally let my foot off the gas here because on some level, the support works. On some level, there is movement and growth and direction. Yeah. And that's got to be part of I know it's part of the challenge.
Absolutely. And if you let go of the scaffolding and the support too soon, I've read that if you plant a young tree and they've got the poles and the wires that are holding it up, if you leave them there too long, the tree doesn't have the strength to grow any larger because it had the scaffolding holding it up for so long. If you remove it too early, the tree doesn't have the strength to grow and will keel over. And it's the same thing here with these kids. Yes. They desperately need this scaffolding that the rest of the world is like, why? But if you remove it too soon, they flounder badly. And if you leave it too long, well, now you've got kids that don't know how to handle life or know how to live on their own or the oars and the thoughts that hit you in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, the ones that keep you awake for 2 hours. Excuse me. So that's one of those things that just takes up brain power.
Well, an enormous amount of brain power. And really what you're describing is, can you have the ability to individually evaluate your specific child and their specific developmental profile and where they are at in any given time, bucking the norms of what society says they should be or when they should be doing things, right? And again, I go back to when you don't have anybody else to bounce that off of and you're trying to figure that out for yourself. My gosh, that's got to increase the burnout tenfold.
So much fold because you think you're the only one dealing with this. A line that I use a lot in writing and in presenting is, if you decide to confide in others, you'll discover you're not alone. And I actually found that quote is a little written out snippet in the column of a gluten-free cooking magazine. And I'm like, that's the greatest quote I've ever heard.
That's really
good. And it's like, perfect for gifted parents. If you decide to confide in others, you discover you're not alone. And it's finding those others that you can trust to confide in. Online groups are very helpful. But if you're out in the wild, you got to listen for those gifted code words. And if you find someone who knows the gifted code words and gives you the other gifted code words, kind of with, that knowing look, then you've probably found a kindred spirit. But not having anyone to bounce things off of, or someone who gets it. Like, I would not necessarily recommend you share a lot of detail with immediate family, believe it or not, because they have their own opinions and sometimes you don't want to hear those opinions. If you don't live under my roof, you don't get to have an opinion.
Ooh, I like it.
So, yeah. Um, but not having a group is it sucks your soul dry because you just feel like you're so alone.
Right.
And I would call that a huge contributor to burnout. Even if you have the groups, like for me, I have so many online and in-person support networks built over the last 20 years. If you don't confide in them and reach out to them and share and get ideas and bounce thoughts, you might as well not have them. And I fall into that camp a lot of times because burnout is constant and a self-fulfilling prophecy in many ways. And also out of sight, out of mind. I forgot I have them. And right. I got those groups that could help me so much.
Would you recommend that the idea of, because there's, to me, it's like the art of connecting with a group, even of like-minded people, there's a bit of skill in it where my concern for parents is always that they're putting the focus entirely on what's going on with their kid.
With their kids.
Right.
Not
you see
with
where
them.
I'm going with this. Yes.
Absolutely.
Not with them. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree 1,000,000,000%. Several years ago, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, Kate Arms and Dr. Chris Wells and I started a Facebook group called Parents of Gifted and Twice Exceptional Kids. And we ran it with a handful of other mods until, 18 months ago. And then we passed off the entire administration off to other people. And it's like 21,000 people now in this group. It's huge. We started it with the intent of someplace to support parents as parents of these kids, not as parents of, my kid has this problem, what do I do? But, my kid has this problem, I'm feeling this way, what do I do? So it's more for them. Very, very challenging to keep it parent focused.
Right.
Because parents, and I'm going to say mostly moms, because I am a mom and I get this, don't want to focus on themselves when they have a problem. They want to focus on their kid's problem. And so it's a whole lot, again, back to my kid has this problem. What do I do? I'm not as active on it anymore, unfortunately. But I love that it started with that intention of for the parents, because you're a parent, because you have needs too. And believe it or not, they're valid, they're important. And if you don't take care of those internal needs, you're going to be burned out so hard, so fast. And if your kid is young, like 4, 5, 6, 8, burnout then is bad enough. But if you're still burned out when they hit their teen years and their young adult years, it's even harder. Ask me how I know this.
Jen, how do you know that?
How do I know this? Because I have young adult children and I am deep into burnout and I am like dragging myself up by my fingernails.
Oh, you're scaring me a little bit, but I know that that's coming because my kids are little, but it's coming. So, but the idea is what's emerging out of what you're saying is this idea of there's a way out of there should be an intention of how you get detached and out of this, right?
Yeah.
So if we say, in our line of work, the problem is really the solution. The problem is you get your brain gets wired into this way of being as a way to support and scaffold, advocate, fight, try to develop your kids' own skills so that it's not always you just doing it by yourself, blah, 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 blah. Now they're mid-20s, they're getting older, and for each kid, it's going to be a different age, but there's an unlearning process, unwiring process. What would you call it?
I liked the thought that you said, like on the wiring, that it's all like kind of knotted up. Because I very strongly believe that gifted is wiring and it's just how you are, who you are. And apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So if you got a gifted kid, you're probably there yourself.
There you
and
go.
Your wiring is already wired gifted. And then get your own kids in there. And so it starts to just sort of knot up. And now you've got like Christmas lights at the beginning of December and you're looking at that going, you need to unknot it and just pull at those strands one at a time. And some of those are going to be deeply knotted and they're going to be really hard to deal with. And they're going to be really painful to deal with. God love my massage therapist, because as a flutist, I get these wicked knots in my upper back. And it's like, I'm sorry, but the only way out is through, and you got to work those knots out. And so you're going to have to untie that wiring. It's like a bad necklace chain knot.
But instead of,
Therapy, yeah.
yeah, putting off the Christmas lights, oh, I'll put them up next year because the knot's
I'll
too
deal with it
big.
next year. I'll
Right.
deal with it next year.
There is
And
a step in
just
becoming
keeps
very
growing.
aware that, hey, this is big, and
This
it
is a
is not
problem.
easy, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
And you were going to say something about therapy.
Yeah, highly recommend finding a therapist, and one that you can really truly just dig into with. Telehealth has made a lot more options available. My therapist lives in another state, but she's registered in mine, so perfect. Because you may need to educate your therapist, because not everyone really groks what gifted wiring is.
That's true.
But boy, howdy, it helps.
Yeah.
Sometimes I laugh that I'm in therapy because everyone else in my life isn't. Somebody's got to be able to cope.
But I mean, instead of putting all your energy in changing everybody else, you go to where you have control.
I can control myself.
There you go.
Yeah. So that helps so much.
Yeah.
As my therapist says, get out of your head.
Sure.
And as I started working through this burnout with her, she's like, all of your hobbies and your interests are like all frontal lobe thinking sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
You need something that isn't that for a while. So
interesting.
Stop writing. Because I was like dying. I'm like, I can't get words out. Not only is it burnout, it's writer's block. Nothing. She's like, stop. You're not doing anything. You're constantly exhausting the one part of your brain that is working all day long at work, while also trying to, continually scaffold your children as they're trying to launch. By the time you get done, you have nothing left. Stop. Right. Do something else. Don't even do crochet or anything, because that still is like counting.
Right.
Go do something else. So I started coloring, and that helped.
Yeah.
But
I thought you were going to say you started powerlifting or something, or, rock climbing,
You know what? Oh, no. Powerlifting would be fun, though.
See, I'm
totally
saying,
love it.
I think you can crush.
That would be fantastic. Oh, I can crush it.
It's no brain up here. It's just physical. But,
it's just brawn.
Yeah. Sometimes we need to flip the scripts. But the idea, and it's so difficult because what you're talking about is not easily reached. And I say that on behalf of a lot of people who feel that mountain is clear in front of them. They get it up here logically, but emotionally it just feels like I'm not allowed. I don't feel free enough to do that. I don't have the support. My family would look at me side eyes. Everything would fall apart. And those are real concerns. Mm-hmm. But I think what I'm hearing from you is it's still the way forward.
Yeah, because eventually these kids are going to, knocking wood, are eventually going to launch and live on their own. And you're going to suddenly have more time. You're going to have more thinking time. You're going to have more you time. And what's the you want to be when that happens?
Yeah.
Do you want to be like a mental wreck? And I say that because, hi. Do you want to be a mental wreck when that happens? Or do you want to, be like, I've done the hard work and I'm at a better place here, just as my kids need me, just slightly less. I had a moment of that a couple of years ago, and that's when we got the dog. So, no more kids at home. Let's get an advanced puppy.
Jen, I love that you went ahead and created another dependency. That's your way to solve it.
Pretty sure she's in the gifted 2E area here too, because she's very, very smart, but she is really not that bright.
Aww.
She's a sweetheart though. Oh God, she's the best.
But I love what you're saying, because it's, and sometimes I have said this directly to both parents and kids. I'm like, there comes a point where you have to get a life. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean it in put yourself first here and create what you're trying to create for yourself. Now, do you feel like the more you're able to do that, as hard as it is, that has an effect on the family system in your life?
Yeah, I think it does, because both my kids in the last 4 or 5 years have seen how I've changed and grown
Mm.
because they've gotten a little older and I went back to full-time work, which has done wonders for me because I realized, A, I love it. But B, it was another way for me to do something, believe it or not, for me.
Mm.
Um, but that also benefited the family because, not going to lie, have a second salary coming in really helps
Sure.
because not being able to work full time the majority of the time my kids were growing really was hard. I did a lot of flute lessons. I had my own flute studio for a long time, and I did other small part-time jobs, but not quite the same. So they're seeing that when mom takes that time, um, she feels better about herself. And that's going to be different for everyone. But for
Of
me, I
course.
love working. I love bringing in a steady paycheck. That was
Hmm.
like the best. Um, and the kids could see that I and I felt more centered, I guess,
Yeah.
because I only had one place to put my brain for several hours, not 75.
Right. Well,
Mhm.
I think that is something. And again, just to respect that mom's a person in her own right. She's a person that has
Yes.
needs, things that she's trying to build, her own hopes, dreams, passions,
Hmm.
purposes, all of it.
Yeah.
Um, and that what a great way to model that
Yeah.
is what we're all trying to figure out as we get older.
Right. And I strongly believe in modeling the kind of life we want our kids to have or to want.
Mm,
Like, respect yourself so that you see that that's the norm, and so people will hopefully treat you with respect.
I
Um,
like that.
yeah. So if I am working and I'm like feeling like this is a good place for me, or leaving if a place is not a good place for me, I'm
Hmm.
modeling that to my kids. There was a lot of modeling for a long time, because God knows they weren't listening all the time.
We communicate with more than just words, That's what it's
Yes,
about.
actions.
Yeah.
I play in a wind ensemble. I have rehearsal every week, and I've been in this ensemble since 2012, so like 14 years, minus the 1 year for COVID.
Yeah.
And it's always on Tuesday nights,
Mm.
always, always. And my kids are just now remembering, oh, that's right, mom and dad aren't available on Tuesday nights because they have rehearsal. It's been 14 years, children.
14. Yeah.
14
Uh-huh.
years. And I'll still
Uh-huh.
get a text, hey, you got a minute? I'm like, replying on my watch, I'm in rehearsal. Or I reply back, what night is it? They're like, oh,
That's
shit.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that's all
right.
right.
Yep. Uh-huh. We
But,
got it.
modeling the life that
Yeah.
you hope they take on. Like my dad, probably the most 2E person on the planet,
Hmm.
and God love him, modeled just curiosity and inquiry growing up constantly. He was constantly learning new things. And even right before he died, he's like reading a calculus book and teaching himself calculus. I'm like, Parkinson's ain't taking that from you, is it?
No. No.
So you
Oh, that's
model that and it
fascinating.
becomes the norm. So if
Right.
you're modeling caring for yourself and you're modeling prevention burnout, that becomes the norm to them.
Yeah.
And hopefully they pick that up and continue.
All right. Now I'm gonna switch over to a persona. I'm trying to channel maybe a parent out there who
Hmm.
might all of a sudden be feeling guilt, right? I'm feeling guilty
Yeah.
because I know that's what I'm supposed to do. I know that's how I should be, but I can't work, or I work too much and I can't get out of that. And there's no way for me to change. There's no way for me to
Hmm.
shift. How do we attend to that person? How do we help them? What's our message to them?
Yeah. I deal with this constantly still. And the only answer I have is absolutely off the charts radical self forgiveness.
Mm,
Just, it is what it is. Forgive yourself for not trying to follow like that image in your head that we all
right.
have.
Right.
And I still have it, and I'm still trying to like bat it away like an annoyance. But radical self-forgiveness. And I'll share the story that I use when I give this example. When our first was born, they had a lot of stomach problems in that things were not moving as they should. And so the doctor said to pour dark Caro corn syrup into their formula.
Hmm.
And it was soy formula because they had an immediate reaction to dairy formula in the hospital. So they're like going straight to the soy. By the way, the smell of soy formula with dark Karo syrup in it is seared into my brain. It is
Oh,
distinctly unpleasant.
oh,
So for months, years, we're pouring dark Karo corn syrup down this kid's throat. Let's fast forward 10, 11 years. And we discover that said child is extremely allergic to corn,
oh my God.
especially corn syrup.
Mm,
And a lot of the digestive problems they'd had their entire growing up years was eosinophilic esophagitis, essentially an allergic reaction in their stomach and their esophagus,
yeah,
most likely brought on by an allergy to corn.
right.
When I say radical self-forgiveness,
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Because we did not know. None of us knew. I
right,
had no idea what EOE was, or that an allergy could wreak havoc on your digestive tract. Allergy is like a rash, right? An itch.
right.
So when I say radical self-forgiveness, that is the level I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And also to forgive yourself for not knowing, and for feeling like you're trying to destroy yourself for
yeah,
the not knowing.
right,
You have to just sort of breathe through it and let it go, because
right.
it will destroy you. And
Yeah.
God knows it tried on me.
Oh my God. I mean,
Yeah,
that is just such a visceral example of what it can feel like to be like,
extremely.
I have the best of intentions in
Mm-hmm.
helping out the people that I love the most. And
Yes.
suddenly I've learned
Yeah. And it
that
was
wasn't what it
years
was.
and years and
Yeah.
years of doctors and exams
Yeah.
and tests to find out what is going on.
Right.
And that was a big chunk of the answer.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into a little bit of systems work here just because that's where I
Mm-hmm.
like to live.
Yeah.
The idea that, you know, moms get scapegoated all the time. I mean,
Oh my God, just
that
opening our eyes.
just open your
Yeah.
eyes, you did
Mm-hmm.
something and that's why
Yep.
my day's bad. Right.
Yep.
And it is a very natural thing, but on some level that fits what the system's supposed to be. Everybody becomes dependent on that happening. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes moms will play into that to some degree, maybe without any knowledge at all, or they
Mm-hmm.
just feel like it's easier this way. But what you're talking about, radical self-forgiveness, to let yourself be free of that is
Mm-hmm.
truly shifting an entire system. No,
Yeah.
it's not on me. My kids, their own journey, whether I had a place in that or
Mm-hmm.
not, we don't blame our parents. We have our
Mm-hmm.
own pain, and
Yeah.
that's what we all have to deal with as individuals. And allowing yourself to detach from that is such an enormously heavy
Mm-hmm.
task. But boy, oh boy, does that change things.
Right. Because if you're able to do that, then you're able to do it on the next one. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying, oh, forgive yourself so you don't feel guilty, when
Right.
maybe a little bit of guilt would have been a good idea, But, sometimes peer pressure can be just a little bit good. Because you learn from that. You learn,
Right.
oh, I feel terrible about this. Okay, what do you do about it then? Well,
Right.
you beg forgiveness and you make reparations and you do better in the future.
Right.
But sometimes when it's just something you did all the right things and
Mm-hmm.
you tried and there's no other answer, well, you can continue to destroy yourself and beat yourself up over something that you truly did not know.
Right.
Or you can just go, when you know better, you do better.
Right. Right.
I still read labels constantly for my kid.
Mm-hmm.
When you know better, you do better, and let it go. And just say, I don't give you the power to do that to me anymore, because I tried. I was doing everything right. It's not helping me to have that screaming, toothy
No.
guilt.
Right.
Time for you to go.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't helping. It's not helping anybody. It's not
No.
helping yourself. It's not helping others. And, we always like to say here, I don't care for sorries. Just change what you need to change.
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
apologies are
Yeah.
nice, but if
Mm-hmm.
that's, and again,
That's
sometimes
it.
that's
That
how
ain't it.
guilt tends to work. It's just this,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'll apologize. And I guess what I'm saying to all the parents out there, and just echoing what you're saying to them as well, is you are allowed
Mm-hmm.
to screw up. And what I would caution against is that becomes this permanent scapegoat role.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do
Do
that.
that.
We're not looking for
No.
that.
No,
and gifted
bad
kids are
form.
smart enough to play into it and kind of like it. You know what I mean? And I don't
Yeah.
mean bad against them, but it's like,
No.
oh, if mom feels bad, I can feel better that I don't have to deal with anything in my life, because mom
Yeah.
will handle
No.
it. And we're not looking for that.
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Own your own ish, child.
Yeah,
I'm
own your
not
own ish. There you go.
I'm not owning it. That one's
Oh,
on you.
oh, I love
I'm
it.
here for you, but I'm not taking that one on.
That's right. I
Yeah.
can be next to you in what you're
Yeah.
going through, but I ain't taking it
Yeah.
on.
And I
That,
mean that is
mhm.
age dependent. I mean, again,
Of
I have
course,
young
of course,
adults. If
of
they were
course.
like 4 and 8, I'd be like, well, we're going to, this is a learning process.
Totally.
Yeah, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah, you're right. I love it. So now I'm going to touch on a very maybe sore spot. I don't know. Maybe it's
Oh
not.
boy.
What's the next book going to be? You're like, how dare you?
Oh, how dare you?
I know.
Well,
yeah.
Ironically, I'm like 14 years late on a second book. So,
hey,
it's
radical forgiveness.
Again, the radical self-forgiveness. So originally it was going to be on self-care.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably have something to do with that.
Yeah.
Then I was going to write one, the ABCs of G2E.
Ooh,
and
that's
just
cute.
essays. And I'm still working on that one. Keep in mind the burnout and writer's block.
You got
and
no
then
pressure from me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then talking to you, you're like, you need to write about this burnout thing as you're launching kids. I'm like, yep, you're right. So now I got like 2.5 here. I need to poke around. So when I say I'm motivated to get myself out of this burnout, that's the only motivation I have really these days.
Yeah, that's what you want.
I'm exhausted, my friend. I am the gooey center of the sandwich generation right now. And it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless you. No, my gosh. No, you're going to get nothing but support from a lot of people listening today, because that is what a lot of people are feeling. And I really appreciate you sharing that.
I could go on a while about gifted parents as they hit their elder years. That is also an all new experience for me.
Ooh, that's interesting.
All new. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll have to have you back, Jen, because that topic in and of itself sounds like a lot of fun to dive into. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me tell you this. Where can people find you? How do people discover you, get in contact with you? Please share.
Yeah, absolutely. The quickest, easiest way to find me is at laughingatchaos.com. I am poking around, experimenting with Substack, but laughingatchaos.com is going to be your best place to find me. And there are contact links on there where you can drop me an email, that sort of thing. I think I'm in Facebook, Laughing at Chaos, and Instagram, Laughing at Chaos. I'm not hard to find. Anywhere you find Laughing at Chaos is probably me.
It's probably you. And if they want to get your book, This is a Gift. If this is a gift, can I send it back? They can find that anywhere.
On Amazon. Amazon has it. I also wrote a handful of chapters for another gifted homeschoolers forum. Let me try that again. Wrote a bunch of chapters for a book that GHF Learners put out a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Perspectives in Giftedness, I believe is the name of it. I have, I think, 2 or 3 essays in there. And then eventually there will be more books. It's a matter of getting all the squirrels up here facing the same direction and not like running off.
It will happen when it happens.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
But when I say I've got that sitting here on my back of my shoulders going, hey, remember those writings you were going to do? They're there. They're loud.
It's in there for sure.
I
just feel like people would just gain so much from connecting with you, reaching out to you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I encourage all my listeners out there to do just that. Jen, I want to thank you so much for being on the program.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
100%. And to everybody out there listening, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.